welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started.
Spirited and
I
thoughtful.
want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their #1 issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris,
The
you and
brokies
President
are
Trump
whining.
were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. We got a notice. Yo. Hold on, wait. I got a message from someone saying YouTube might be banning people streaming the debate. That's what they said. Is he doing it? He's not even streaming it. Wait. Oh, shit. What do I do, chat? What do I do? Fuck, what do I do? Are they going to be mad? Are they going to be mad at me? What do I do? I don't know. I don't want to interrupt him, but at the same time, if they're banning people streaming the debate, what do we do? He's on Kick? He's on Kick? Chat, what do we do? What the fuck do we do?
Expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have.
Tax cut? Who cares, bro? Who cares? Tax cut? Who cares? That's for brokies, okay? Only brokies need to care about tax cuts. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Who fucking cares? Whatever. Whatever, bro. Come on, Kamala. Get it together. There's got to be something else going on. There's got to be something else going on here, right? You got to have something better.
We have given in a long time so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses.
Your passion is being beautiful. Your passion is being my perfect sweetie. Your passion is kissing me long into the night. Your passion is not small business. You're big business, all right? You're big. You're a big girl. You don't care about that. This is fake. This is
Actually,
fake.
my mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who...
My mother raised my sister and me. Isn't that who raises everyone? Isn't that who raises everyone? Also, Kamala, no dad. Coincidence? Don't think so. She nervous AF? I feel like she's not that nervous, honestly. I feel like she's fine. Trump does seem pissed, though. I'll say that. He seems upset.
Who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's debt.
Well, I mean, think about it this way, chat. Who needs money more than a billionaire, right? He's like they have the money, right? Realistically speaking, if we give money to poor people, what are they going to do? They're just going to keep being poor. They're going to spend it on Lego bricks and Funko Pops and silly things, okay? These are not things that anyone needs. These are not things that anybody should need, frankly. Okay? So we don't need to give poor people money. We need to give rich people more money so they can get richer and they can buy more Galaxy gas. Elon Musk needs to be able to buy a lot more Galaxy gas, all right? Frankly, I think this is a farce. This is lunacy. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, all right? This is ridiculous. Why do libs hate nicotine? Also, I don't have a mom. Libs hate nicotine because it's based.
Deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of
$4,000. What, you need $4,000? You're broke? You're broke. You're broke. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Elmala.
his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people.
She stuttered. She stuttered. She's nervous. She's on drugs. She doesn't know where she is. Fake news, L.
People paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
How about we do a tax cut on cigarettes, okay? I went to the store the other day to buy Zins. Previously it was $5. Now in Maine where I live, it's fucking $7.50. 45%, some shit like that tax, okay? Cringe. Cringe. We should be giving more money to billionaires and lowering the tax on nicotine. All right? That's what we should be doing, frankly. I don't think there's anything else that we need. There's no more solution. All right, Trump. Let's hear you talk about how you're going to bring cigarettes back, okay?
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation.
Tariff. Right.
Look,
No
we've had
inflation.
a terrible economy because inflation has
Terrible
which
economy.
is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have
breaks up
inflation
countries.
like very few people have ever seen before.
Very few have
the worst
seen.
in our nation's history.
The worst in our nation's
we
history.
were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50,
Talk
60,
about China.
70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago.
Look at
This
her
has been
smiling.
a disaster for people, for the middle
Decrease
class,
the
but for
cigarette
every
tax.
class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from
Kamala definitely going to ban Zyn and voting for Trump. Do you think if she bans Zyn, something terrible is going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen, but something not good is going to happen for sure. If she bans Zyn, what are we going to do, dude? What are we going to do? If Zyn gets banned, how am I supposed to survive? How am I supposed to live on this fucking planet, bro? The only acceptable tax is phantom tax? True.
prisons and
True.
jails, from mental
True.
institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions.
He
Unions
speaks
are
for the
gonna be
blacks.
affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking.
Have you heard Wage War's new album? Don't you think there's more important pressing things going on right now? Hunter Dickinson, okay? They're talking about taking away cigarettes and taking away Zins and increasing taxes on it, okay? This is important. This is important.
Taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country.
They're eating
And
cats.
they're destroying our country. They're,
They're eating
dangerous.
cats.
They're at the highest level of criminality.
I don't know that they
and
are.
We have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
The worst.
Donald Trump left us the worst public health.
I like how whenever he like disapproves of something, he won't sit there. He won't just sit there and let it slide. He's got to give like a disapproving, like, just don't approve of that. He's got to let the audience know. You know, he's got to give his disappointed face to let people know that he doesn't disagree. It's shameful to think that. All right, shameful to think that. He's a very communicative speaker, and we love that about him.
Epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name-calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025.
I feel like Trump is actually going to have like a more, when I've seen his interviews recently, he's given a much more tempered kind of response to these things. He's been much more chill. I feel like he's going to give a much more tempered, chill version of Trump this time around. Like when I saw him on Lex Friedman recently, he was like, you know, foot off the gas. He was being more of a relaxed guy. When I saw him on Theo Von, he was being a relaxed guy. And then even during the Lex Friedman thing, he said we lost by a whisker, basically saying that, you know, he lost the election rather than saying that it was stolen from him. So he seems to have kind of tempered himself in the lead up to the election. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of under the impression that he's probably going to be chilling the freak out a little bit during this debate. I could be wrong, but this isn't, one thing I will say is this definitely is not the same thing that we saw with the Biden debate, right? Because with the Biden situation, Biden was literally senile, right? She's, you know, younger, she's mentally sharper, she's on top of it. Trump said he released JFK files. I highly doubt he will, but that would be cool if he could. Tom, I just gave birth to my firstborn in August. Me and my husband live in Maine, too. Please come baptize my baby girl. I'll do that for sure. Make Fortnite great again. True. Kamala's gripping right now. Dude, she could be. Kamala, I don't know what your plans are after this debate, but listen. See you on Capitol Hill, baby girl. When I talked about Rich Girlfriend the other night, I think she's the one. I think she's definitely the one, bro. What else could there be? What else could there be, truly?
That the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad. But
this is the American Heritage Foundation, I think, created that, which is like a right-wing think tank. This is the Project 2025 is the reason why furries hacked. Is it the American Heritage Foundation? I want to say it is. The furries hacked this like Republican think tank institution type thing because they didn't like Project 2025. Basically, I guess they thought it was overreaching on their civil rights or something like that. But yeah, that's my understanding. That's my understanding. The only one is Barbella. That's all I'm hitting. What are you even talking about, Sneeko? What are you talking about?
it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a...
How do you get hacked by furries, a government body? I think they're not a government body, though, is the thing. They're like, obviously they work with government figures, but they're not like a .gov site. They're not like a .gov organization. They're a private organization that aims to like create legislation and stuff like that for actual Republicans who are like, you know, in office in Congress, stuff like that. The only thing that would bring this country together is if a Day to Remember released another album like Common Courtesy. They've done enough of that, bro. People need to warm up on You're Welcome, all right? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. What's your opinions on Trump diaper allegation? I think if it's true, I would respect him more, and I would have to vote for him. I think that's all I can really say about that. Barbella Gymnasia, that's her name. What are you? Whose name? Who? Whose name is Barbella Gymnasia?
Country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
Everybody else knows it.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan,
Once again,
it's all about tax.
the disapproving look. He has to make every time she says something that he doesn't like. He's like, he has to like. It's like a Simpsons character. He has to disapprove openly. Be like, I just.
breaks for the richest people.
I missed when he interrupted.
I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something.
Well, how about instead of exploding the deficit, you explode my asshole? You said to stop gooning, so I bought your merch and getting shredded. I've been having withdrawals, though. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Sneeko. I hope you're all right, bro. hope you make it through the withdrawals. You'll make it through, buddy. I believe in you.
That would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors,
Soundbite.
think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like four sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to.
They're both just like, no, you don't have a plan. No, you don't have a plan. No, I have a plan. You don't have a plan. No, here's my plan. Your plan is non-existent. But actually, I have the plan. I'm the man with the plan. All right. I like when they were arguing like little babies. I like that too. I can't trust Kamala arm gestures. Why do you call her Kamala? Why are you calling her cum? Do you think Howard Stern, Baba Booey would be a better host of the debate? Yes, I think he would be. He would be good. What's the guy's name again? Roy or some shit? The Italian dude. Trump out-sassing a black woman is crazy. I've seen a lot of pictures of him with black women. For some reason, he seems to get along with them very well. I can't explain that. But he seems to be, sort of in the cut, so to speak. Do you think Destiny can try joining Congress? I mean, he can try. Brandon Herrera tried. It didn't work out, but he can try, theoretically. Anyone can try. I could try. I could run tomorrow.
Drill down on something you both brought up. The vice president brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer.
Boring. Kamala needs a BBL to win the presidency. True. That's true. Mexico is already having a female president. Sneeko, what the fuck are you saying? You're going schizo in my chat right now. I'm starting to think you're the real Sneeko because I don't even know what the fuck you're saying. What are you even saying? Tom, do you think Trump could shake it up and down while it jiggles? Do you think that would make him win, to be honest? I think it would. Frankly, I think if they did an oiled up twerk off, that would be much better than this. Did you see that Skibbity Toilet might get a movie? It is getting a movie. It is, and I look forward to it, and I will watch it and jerk off to it in the theater.
Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration.
Weeb Airsoft says, don't like Harris or Trump isn't doing so hot. He's definitely doing less. He's less confident than he was in the last debate because I think he last time he was kind of able to just bully Biden because Biden was old and retarded. But it's a little more complicated this time around. You know, it's not so simple.
We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed.
When are they going to talk about aliens? Yeah, that's the real point they need to talk about. They got to talk about aliens. Who cares about whatever the fuck this is? Who's up swinging their sword? Not me.
The economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal?
When Trump talks, it reminds me of the essays I would fill with descriptive words at the minimum word count. He is very rambly. I'll say that. He's a very rambly guy. He says not very much in a long period of time. I would agree with that.
With China, what he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that...
I think we should give all the money to North Korea and me. If I woke up tomorrow and I was the president, I would tweet the N-word. I would send half of the money in the United States bank account. As you all know, there's one bank account for all our money that the United States collects in tax dollars. I would take half of the $10, which is $5, and give it to me so I can buy some treats at the gas station, okay? And I would give the other half to North Korea so that they can get another button for a nuke. That's what I would do. Biden was old, silly, but he was most skibbity. There was a part during the debate where he was like, skibbity. You remember that? He said the word skibbity. Chat, low-key, they're both poo. Poo. They're not. I'm poo. My boyfriend is trying to flirt with me, and I said, shut up, Turkey Tom's live. Base, dude. Listen, abandon your partners, abandon your lives. Invest in a parasocial relationship with me. Cool story. Last time wearing a lady suit. This is a men's suit. This is not a women's suit. This is a men's suit. I got it from Men's Warehouse. I got it from Men's Warehouse, all right? Not Women's Warehouse. It's Men's Warehouse. George Floyd 2024. Chill.
That we win the race on AI, on quantum computing. Focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet.
President Xi.
Thank you, President Xi! Exclamation.
Where the hell is President He? It's Mam's Warehouse. Shut up. No, it's not. It's Boys Warehouse. It's boys-based testosterone guy warehouse, all right? Shut up. It's men. It's Men's Warehouse.
Point when we know that she was responsible for lacking and not giving
Where's
us
President He?
about the
Who is she?
origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all,
Tom got it from Boy Kisser. Dude, stop. Nope. Deny allegation.
they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And
She'd change it.
Be the end of our country.
The end of our
She's a
country.
Marxist. Everybody knows
She's a Marxist. Okay. We're a little crazy. I don't think Kamala Harris is watching Hassan's stream, to be honest with you. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's real. I don't think she's a Marxist. I'll be
Her
honest, I
father's a
don't.
Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done,
She's brown and gay. You raise an excellent point with that one. I think that's much more sticking. Has a lot more sticking power, to be honest with you. Thank you, Asteriskle, for becoming a member.
to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to
Who is Roe? I know Wade Wilson. Like, that's Deadpool, right? But who is Roe? Like rowboat type thing? Who is Roe? Does anyone know who Roe is? Someone in chat tell me who Roe is. Get rid of the Fenty, bring back the heroin. True. Who is Roe, though? Who is Roe? Can anyone tell me who Roe is? Roe are a type of fish egg. There's a fish egg in government? Roe is the Democrat king? Oh, it's salmon eggs. Okay, I understand. Roe v. Wade abortion rights? What the fuck are you talking about? You think they're talking about abortion rights in the presidential debate? That's insane. There's no way. I think that's not true. I think this is about Deadpool. This is clearly about Deadpool, okay? Let America breathe. True. Thanks for the 2. Row yo boat. True. Row it.
be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed.
Well, maybe the real problem, frankly, is not whether women can trust Trump. Maybe the real problem is whether or not Trump can trust women. Okay, we've seen a lot of false allegations recently. We've seen Super Mega, okay, false allegation. All right, we've seen Katie Bugs, false allegation. I think Trump is aware of the Freshly 18 situation, and I think that he's got to be careful. He's got to be careful because there could be some false accusers in the YouTube community who come out against Trump. I mean, who knows who's going to say what, Who knows? Keep your eyes peeled, guys, for those false allegations, all right? For Tom Dark Economy, Tom for President. True. Thank you very much. I appreciate your donation to my campaign.
Changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because
We'll execute the baby. Destroy the child. Destroy the child. We'll execute the baby. All right, I was wrong. I was wrong about the whole, foot off the pedal type meme. We'll execute the baby. When you go to Planned Parenthood, execute the baby. Mossberg 500, right up the pussy. JC $250. Thank you. Holy shit. I like your views tend to align with my own for many subjects you cover. I'm a woman, though, so I got L plus ratio by birth with that defect. True, you did, but, for $250, I'll forgive you, Jesus. Also, made you mediocre art, have no idea how to share it with you. Tweet it at me or email it to me.
because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is...
They have like a guillotine. They have a fucking firing squad for the infant. This is fire. This is good. I like this. This is good. Execute the baby.
Born is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years.
When will they announce Daniel as surprise debater? I mean, I think, obviously, this debate is all a farce. In my opinion, I mean, you can say what you want about it. You like Trump, you like Kamala, but obviously the real winner is going to be Daniel Larson in the end. And, I'm confident that his vote will pull through. He's got a strong base. He's got a strong base out there. I don't see Trump getting 1.7 million views in a Turkey Time documentary about him. Same with Kamala. Daniel Larson, he's got it. He's got a dedicated fan base. He's got I'd say, interesting platform. He has a, very talented actress in the form of Grace VanderWaal as his first lady. So I think that there's a lot of good stuff going on there that I think, needs to be talked about. And obviously they're not going to talk about it because they're part of the deep state. But realistically speaking, Daniel Larson's going to win. So, it is what it is. But we'll only see that election night. Who knows? They might steal it from him. They might. But I think, we got to have faith, at least for the next 4 years, that he's going to pull through.
Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. And now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal.
Ohio.
Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give...
Bro's talking about Ohio. Bro said, Ohio. Ohio mentioned. Holy Sigma. True. Tom, I have reason to believe you're my father. Well, considering I'm not gooning, that's just not the case. Chinese freeze tag, I would set myself on fire for you. Good song. Also, thoughts on punk music? Fuck punk music. Daniel Larson 2024. Fuck your gay-ass black flag. Bullshit. Trump, Kamala, get out for Daniel Larson.
Give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact.
She's taking Trump's side. Okay? She's taking Trump's side. She's pointing out it's not legal, it's illegal, which is why these executors that have electric chairs for infants need to be dealt with, all right? Boogie 298 for chief medical advisor. Base, dude. Do you hear about the standoff on the 195 bridge in Kittery last week? No, I don't look at the news.
Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what...
You make a great point, but what if they lied? What if it's a false YouTube allegation, okay? Is the YouTube drama subreddit going to talk about this? I don't think so. Who the hell is Roe v. Wade? I don't know who it is either, dude. Who the fuck is Roe v? Roe Mama? Base, dude. So true. Thank you for the 10. It's Barry. I appreciate it, bro. Alex Wolfie, thanks for coming a member.
What happens to their body next? That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want...
Look at her side profile. Look at that jawline. Do you think she's been mewing? Because it looks like Trump, based on this sort of gizzard, has not really been mewing, but she... I mean, look at that. sharp jawline. It's beautiful. I think she's been mewing, guys. I think she's actually been mewing. She's been preparing for this. This is all of her debate preparation was based on mewing.
Want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers.
She's kind of mogging him, honestly. She's kind of mogging him, bro. Looking sharp, thank you. Snazzy is the word we use over here. But she's kind of mogging, bro. I can't deny it. You know, Trump looks like he's not happy with this answer. He's not giving the classic disapproving. He's just kind of like, you know, she's kind of mogging a little bit. Her anger is palpable. She has my vote. Roe v. Wade should have never been overturned. Who is Roe? Who the fuck is Roe? Can no one tell me? Rosie Wave? I'm lost. I'm lost too, Lim. Donald Trump light. Kamala is L. Biden is Ryuk. I think that's a thoughtful analysis. I think you could be right there.
Are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of
She's
incest,
appealing to emotion.
being forced to carry a
Can't listen. I'm lost in her eyes. I'm lost in her jawline.
pregnancy to term.
Look at that. Look at the side view of her jawline, bro. Look at that. She's been mewing like crazy for this debate, bro.
They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion.
Wolverine versus Wade Wilson. Base, bro. Fucking base. Kamala wants to row the waves. Oh, okay. I get. So she's like a rower. She's like the Winklevoss twins in The Social Network. That makes sense. Be honest, would you hit? How's that even a question? I think you know. I mean, I think I've been clear on my stance.
Ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten.
She tried to do the transition. The news lady, whatever her name is, tried to do the transition. Be like, Trump, what do you think? He was like, that's a lie. That's a lie. Let me step in here. That's a lie. Base, dude. He had to do the reverse mog. He saw her jawline. He was like, listen, I got to get in here. I have to do what I have to do. The jaw gives throat go. Dude. Nope. Have you seen Trump's second most recent Insta post? No, we can check that after. Which one of them would win an oiled up twerk off, jumping up and down with maximum efficacy? I think Trump would win an oiled up twerk off, honestly. I mean, just imagine Donald Trump naked. I mean, it's a beautiful sight. Honestly, it's a beautiful, beautiful sight.
What everybody wanted, Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states. And the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart. And they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well,
to
I
your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote.
Impossible.
Especially now with the 50-50 and essentially
Impossible? Furry reference?
50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they say
Are you going to make Larson 2024 merch? I would never seek to profit off of such a serious issue or make light of it or make jokes about it. So no. Twerk off Roe v. Cake? I'm gonna come.
they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these...
Why does Tom look slightly moist? I'm actually very moist, given that Kamala is here, right? I'm extremely moist, I would argue. I'm the most moist I've ever been. Okay? I'm extremely moist.
Students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have
That was a very... Look, I like JD. You know, I don't mind if he has that view of what I said. I didn't say that to him. He was speaking for me. However, just like a lot of qualifiers. JD Vance, when I ever seen a picture of him, he looks like, I feel like I would have like known him in high school. He looks like he's still in high school but has a beard. You know what I mean? Like he looks like a high school student with a beard. Donald and Kamala ASMR right now, no breaks. This is cool and all, but when do they start kissing? Yeah, I think it's going to happen real soon. Not enough oiling up and glazing, 3 out of 10 debate. I mean, that's what I'm saying, bro. But yeah, I mean, JD just looks like, he looks like a pudgy high school kid with a beard. He looks like you in 10 years, me in 1 year, dude. Do you like couches? Dude, I've fucked so many couches, dude. You wouldn't believe the sexual conquest I've had. Okay, with stuff from Wayfair's website. They're cheap. They're cheap, but they get the job done, all right? 1 bust per couch. You know what I'm doing with the YouTube ad revenue, all right? Did you see Bub Games went homeless because Pyrocynical stole his content? Okay. I heard he went homeless or something, but I don't know. I was like, based. I don't know. I don't really know anything about him, to be honest with you. The sex of he's homeless, but I don't think that's why he went homeless, to be honest with you. Good troll, though.
Have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress. Do it.
In an hour and a half, it's 9 versus 11. What does that even mean?
But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress
It's an elaborate hoax? Oh, based.
and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people.
I know this is important, but I do want to bring up something that might be more important than this, which is that right now, apparently it's 1,000% confirmed that Chris Chan is watching this debate. I'm very curious what Chris, our shining queen, had to say.
One of the people that burned down Minneapolis
There
be
she
prosecuted,
is.
or in Seattle. They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city.
You were 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I do game from time to time, but obviously I'm just not too big into games. Lately, I've been more focused on life, and things are going good and everything.
Riveting commentary. Riveting, relevant, base, topical commentary. That's what we like to see. Sonashu v. Wade. Yeah. Bro is cooked. I mean, not bro. Whatever. Not bro. My bad. My bad, chat. Not bro. Show? Shoe? Is that President Xi? I think that was President Xi.
Working women
Rosa Chu v. Wade.
who are working
Based.
1 or 2 jobs, who can barely afford childcare as it is, have to travel to another state to get on a plane sitting next to strangers to go and get the health care she needs. Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not.
To be honest, I think as far as the woman vote, I think Kamala's got it. I think Kamala's stealing the woman vote away right now, okay? Women that aren't from the South or whatever, women that aren't married women in the South who just kind of are on a different wave. Okay, non-Christian woman. I think Kamala's got them in the bag, bro.
The majority of Americans believe in a woman's right to make decisions about her own body, and that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot in red and blue.
Multiple women, okay? And I haven't spoken to very many of them. Multiple of them, with few exceptions, whenever I've spoken to them, have been like, how do you feel about abortion? Can you tell me how you feel about abortion? It's like a pivotal question for them, and it's like, to be honest with you, sweetie, I think you should be able to destroy whatever child you want, okay? It's based. It's based. Okay? It's based. Name 10 women. Dude, I can only name like one, and it's the one that's in front of me right now, named Kamala Harris. The most shining young queen I've ever seen. She is beautiful. Z is beautiful even.
States both. The people of America.
Thankfully, I've never run into the issue where it's like there's this thing I've seen on Twitter where a guy is talking to a girl, and then the girl is like, can you tell me how you feel about the ongoing genocide in Gaza right now? And it's like, bruh, I'm just trying to fuck you right now, all right? President Tom, any comment on the Bart allegations? They're all true. I am Bart. Eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.
America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie.
Another lie.
I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF.
I love how whenever he talks about stuff, whenever he's trying to like qualify a statement, it's like everybody else knows it too. I know it, they know it, you know it, everybody else knows it. I do like that. I need to speak more like that. I think it would make me more convincing, to be honest with you. Postnatal abortion for Chris. Look, we'll run that up with the Larson administration. The Leviathans are coming. Donald will pay. Joe Rogan. We need to get Mama Max on the stage, bro. Tom, go drink your soy ant venom milk week. I'm glad you mentioned that. I do have my Soylent right to the left of me. I'll be tapping into that later. Real soon.
Yeah. And the other thing, you should ask.
Look at how wide he is,
Will
bro.
she
Look at
allow
his
abortion
shoulders.
in the
They're
8th
insane.
month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the
problem.
question? Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important
go.
to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country.
We're talking about the Mega Minions invading Ohio, all right? Serious stuff. If they don't mention Mega Minions, I think they're both cooked. So one of them's going to have to tap in on the Mega Minions for sure. For sure. You're jealous of the shoulders? Bro, look at his traps. Look at his lats. Okay? Yeah, you're right. I don't have shoulders like that, all right? I don't. Yes, I'm jealous. Jesus Christ. Can I not get mogged sometimes? Can I not admit that I've been mogged?
Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until
Larson
6
isn't in
months
jail. He's
before
busy
the
campaigning.
election
He's
to
campaigning
act?
from
And
jail.
would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge.
Wait, why are we stopping? I thought fentanyl was cool. We're stopping fentanyl now? I didn't know this was a thing. We're stopping fent? I'm not saying I do Fent or anyone else should do Fent, but stopping Fent in general just seems like, I don't know, silly. Seems very, very silly to me, all right? Seems very silly. I feel like the more Fent, the better. I mean, you know, you can agree to disagree if you want, but once again, I think the Larsonian campaign would agree with me that the more Fent, the better. The more Trenchwood, the better. Undo another button. Just for saying that, I'm rebuttoning one, okay? This isn't some kind of gooner thing, all right? It's sweaty in my basement tonight.
Of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he
Destroy the
preferred
child.
to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time.
Come! She said
where
come!
the
She
people
said
in this
come!
country
She said it comes! She said it comes.
actually need a leader
Just
who
saying.
engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going
Come
to
on a
talk about
problem.
immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald
Me?
Trump's rallies, because it's a
Oh.
really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course.
What if I go to your house? Dude, this is like a Destiny moment. This is like... She saw Destiny's tweet where after he was like making fun of Corey Comparator, or whatever. She saw the tweet where he was like, I'll buy you a ticket to any of my rallies. She was like, Destiny reference. Destiny reference! That's my streamer.
Course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer.
Hannibal Lecter? That's a real guy. Aren't those movies documentary? Am I wrong? They're not documentaries? It's a real guy. She's lying. I think she's lying.
And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve.
Isn't Cannibal Lecter a bad guy? I mean, I thought he was the good guy, but I could be wrong, you know. Hannibal Rizzler? Yeah, she couldn't even get the fucking name right. She's a fucking liar, perpetually. Hannibal Lecter's a fictional character. I think you're lying. I'm not going to fact check on Snopes, but I think you're lying. He's a real guy for sure. He's real.
A president.
I've seen him around, out and about. He gets pizza by my house. You should get a soundboard for the debates. Skibbity, gadog, gadot. I'll be my own soundboard.
Who actually
Oh, I've been married a long time ago.
President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to
What I would like to respond with is skibbity.
kill that bill, and successfully so. That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the rallies. She said people start
Skibbity.
leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go.
Yeah.
And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then
Whoa.
showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back.
She was like, people leave your rallies early. And he's like, you paid everyone at your rallies to be there. That's so fucking funny, bro. Bussing them in. They're bussing them in. Bussing them in. She busts in the Mega Minions to my rallies. You see my rallies? No Mega Minions, only Skibbity. You see her rallies? All Mega Minions. Cringe, cringe.
Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country. And it's a shame. As far as the rallies are concerned, as far as the reason.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating them. They're eating the dogs. This is not real. This is not real. How is this real? How is this a real thing? Roe was a name given to protect the identity of the woman, like John Doe. So her real name was so her real name was John, is what you're saying? Like John Sigma, something like that? God Sneed? All right, I understand. So Roe is the name of the cat, and Wade, whatever it is the name of the guy who ate the cat. Is that what it is? They're eating the dogs and cats.
The reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this
She looks like she's like pitying him almost.
country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, will end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals.
Fake news. They're lying. The media lies. The town lies. I saw it. I saw it on the Trump media. I have Trump media. I see they're eating dogs and cats.
Within the immigrant community.
Well,
all
I've
this,
seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
The people on television say my dog.
He saw them on TV. No, bro. I've seen them on TV. I've seen them on the TV. I look at the TV and they were there. This is fire, bro. Yeah. I saw it on the tube this morning. They were eating dogs and cats. I saw it.
Dog was taken and used for food. So
Used for food. His dog was taken and used for food. I love it. This is good. This is good.
maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But the
television.
people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formally worked with President.
Our lady just got arrested in Canton, Ohio for eating a cat. See, look, he saw my. He's watching the stream. The thing you don't know is that Trump has an implant. It's a microchip. He's got an implant. He's listening to the stream. He saw me read the donation. This is obviously actually in the future. And based on that, he saw what I said from the on-the-ground reporting in my chat. And he repeated that information, the base true facts, okay? Sorry, I just finished eating a cat before this stream.
President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a four-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the republic, would never.
In Trump's voice, controversial opinion, but Thousand Suns by Linkin Park is the best album in the discography. Hands down, I'm right, you're wrong. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Meteora sucks. Thousand Suns is great, all right? You know it, I know it, they all know it.
Never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people.
I like his pose a lot. I got to comment on the pose because the way that Kamala poses is kind of like the mic is like it comes up to meet her. It's more level, but with Trump, he's taller. So the way his pose is like, this is the thing you don't know about the boing boing skibbity gidiggity. All right, they deserved to get kneeled on. It's a very interesting body language thing. All right, this is my body language analysis. Body language analysis.
Were just killed viciously.
You're
and violently
fired.
Killed, and I got to know
You're
the
fired.
parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book. Because with me, they can write books. With nobody else, can they?
I'm rizzing up a fat emo girl right now. She likes Periphery, A Day to Remember, and Inflation. It's perfect because I'm fat and a Sonic fan. Tom, help. She has an air hose. What am I supposed to say to that? What am I supposed to say to that? What am I supposed to say to something like that? She likes Periphery. Okay, great band. A Day to Remember. Great band. And Inflation. This is the third thing she likes, and she has a hose. What am I supposed to say about that? What am I supposed to say about that? Good for you, I guess. We're doing something important. I'm giving important political analysis here, all right?
But they have done such a poor job, and they never
Such a
fire
poor
anybody.
job.
Look
Never.
at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president.
You guys catch that? I heard the breath. They were like, because they were about to speak, the person on the news, and then he was like, no, actually, I'm not done yet. I need more time. Based. Call of Destiny's commercials.
President in
No.
history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your
he
deportation
says Skibbity, he has my vote.
proposal that the vice
Based.
president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say if things get out of control, you'd have no problem using the U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in
Don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Thank you, Steven, for the dono. Tom, which one Poop maxes more? I think it might be Trump, honestly. I think he might poop max more. I think that Kamala's diaper is probably more full. She's been storing it up for longer. Trump's, he has a lot more discharge in that way out the rear, so he has to disperse of it, more regularly. But I think that Trump might be the greater poop maxer in general. He might have more output.
Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down. You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime.
I do want to note, okay, on a real note, the question that whatever the fuck, David Muir, right? The question he asked was, how are you going to deal with immigration? I don't think he's quite answering that here.
Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich, coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national
had to bring it
security
up.
crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one
Mira,
of
for
those
becoming a
cases
member.
was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about
your food
extreme
loves
and
you.
understand the context.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I think Trump might be getting mogged in this debate. I think he's having a hard time. I think he is. You know, I don't really have particular love for either candidate, but I feel like he's kind of getting mogged. You know, the more I listen to who's giving substantive answers versus who isn't, it seems to me like Kamala is giving much more substantive answers, and Trump is just like not answering the question, going on a long tirade, and then like interrupting, you know, the people on the news. It seems like kind of a mog, bro. Tom would lap both of them. Yeah, I would lap them. Yeah, for sure. I would destroy them in a debate, for sure.
Context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from.
I wish he was being more funny. I miss when he was more smug. In the last debate with Biden, he was more smug. He was more funny. In the Republican National Convention or whatever in 2016, he was really smug and funny. Here he seems just pissed off in general. He seems upset, and I miss smug Trump. You know, I think he's much more likable when he's smug. Angry, he kind of comes across like a baby. I'll show you and Kamala a hard time based.
Any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate.
He can't be smug. He'll be accused of misogyny. I mean, he's been accused of that a million times, you know. When are they going to get to the issue of reverse circumcision? I want my foreskin back. Hey, you should write to your congressman. You know, that's an important issue. I think you deserve to have it back if you want it. They'll take it out of the National Archives. They'll take the foreskin out, and they'll put it back on.
The Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has
Come on, he's got to lock in, bro.
Expressed
if he's going to win, he's got to
disdain
lock in.
for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
Weaponized, please.
We got
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I
He just
probably
keeps
took
going.
a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy
President
with a fake
Trump.
Russia investigation
We do have a lot
that
to get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now.
Do you think part of the reason Trump was so popular in 2016 was because of the internet climate at the time? I mean, maybe partially. I think, I don't know if the internet climate was that big of a deal. I think a lot of it was just like, we had this impression over a while that people were very, politicians are very stuffy, stuck up people. And Trump came in and he was like unprofessional. He was really funny. He was really likable. He was really entertaining. And you couldn't stop watching him, right? And for in the beginning, people said, oh, he's going to lose because of that. But he ended up winning. In my opinion, just because of who he is as a character. He's like a captivating guy. But unfortunately, I think that that's not really translating now when he's asked to, basically answer to like serious policy decisions and stuff like that. I think he's having a very hard time, at least in this debate. So yeah, that's what I think. Lol, mods are Trumpers, deleting every comment. There's like one mod in my chat, and he's not a Trumper. He said Trump lost, so that's just not the case. If there are comments being deleted, then they're probably TOS. That's the only stuff we have to. That's the only stuff we have to get rid of.
Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States, and in fact,
I didn't even realize that like natural gas and fracking and all this shit was such a big deal in Pennsylvania. I literally only know it is now because I was watching a fictional TV show about politics, House of Cards. I was watching House of Cards, and in season 1, the natural gas industry and the oil and gas industry is like a big deal. Big energy is a big deal in that show. I didn't even know this was anything of note in fucking Pennsylvania. What's fracking? It's basically when you like flicker goon really hard and it turns into like a more extreme thing because you try to jelk at the same time. It's kind of a dark, untapped thing that not a lot of people know about, but the more you look into it, the more benefits I see personally.
I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, no
My
problem.
position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to
Look at
my
his
work
face.
to say we are going to work.
He made the IRL fucking. This is like one of the old like rage comic faces. This face. This is awesome.
With the private sector and
Base,
home builders
dude.
to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done. Protecting seniors from abuse have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name-calling.
All right, we're getting soy here. All right, name calling. Not about name calling. We like the name calling. Name call Trump, dude. If you want to get in the ring, if you want to get dirty, you want to get down and dirty, you want to get base with it. Clip Farm. Sorry, I paused on a really fire picture of Trump right there. Holy shit. He looks like he's like a Victorian child that just woke up and like saw an Instagram reel for the first time, an AI video of Joe Rogan and fucking Jocko Willing talking about coming to increase workout output. What the fuck?
The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that.
Fuck the brokies. Destroy them. Destroy the poor. Take away their money. Give it to the rich. Come on.
President.
President
gay?
Trump, your
Well, first of
response?
all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions.
Many,
and when
many.
people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that.
When people say they're
Fracking,
even
she's
surprised.
been against it for 12 years. Defund the police. She's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing
Everybody's
at it.
laughing at
She
it.
gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different...
I feel like so many of Trump's responses are like, you're actually the fucking soy jack. It's you. It's you. And I like it. If I ever have a debate and I'm like, you know, the person's trying to like make a legitimate point, my instant response will just be, everybody knows you're gay. Everybody knows you're lame. Everybody knows you're wrong. They all know it. They all know it. They all know it. I'm right. You're wrong. I'm like the base Chad soy jack. And you're like the soy jack with the happy face on that's a mask, but secretly behind it, you're crying. That's how you respond.
different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out... Wait a minute. I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please.
Oh, shit. I'm talking now. I'm talking now. If you don't mind. Look at her face. Dude, look at her face, bro. Holy shit. I'm talking now, if you don't mind. It's my turn.
Does that sound familiar?
Oh, shit. The vitriol, the spite. Look at that face, bro. No way.
Don't lie.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this.
Wait, what? I've never even heard that. What? She wants to do transgender operations on illegal liberals in jail? Do they give trans operations to people in jail? What does that even mean? Is this happening? Chris Chan reference? What the fuck?
She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before.
Like nobody's ever done.
When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500 acres of...
This is awesome. He's riffing. He's like a stand-up comedian. He's riffing. I feel like he didn't come super prepared. You know? He just came with a roast. Looking snazzy. You have my vote. Thank you very much.
Desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer.
Bro, Kamala looks so smug. She looks so fucking smug. She looks like she's having a fucking blast right now. Oh, peaceful transfer of power. Are we going to talk about J6, I assume?
Of power, which of course we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And
Tom for treasurer? Yeah, sure. I mean, just give me the money. Let me handle the money. I'll make it work, all right? I'm a good businessman. I'm a good businessman. Thank you very much, Katoro. I appreciate it, bro. W. Riz.
nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning,
What's my address? 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. I'm coming right now.
oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big...
Dude, Destiny's definitely having a field day over this part right here. Over the fact that Trump is not willing to talk about what happened on January 6th and give any regrets. Who do you think is winning? Objectively, like, how do I think the American public's going to come away with it? I think that probably they're going to come away with a Kamala victory. Probably not by a lot. I think it'll probably be like a 55% Kamala victory, 45% Trump loss, if I had to guess. That's what people are going to say. But, yeah, who's really winning are people on YouTube live streaming this. But, yeah, I think probably people are going to come away with it with a Kamala victory, if I had to guess, based on the debate. Trump just, he's too upset. He's too angry. He's not smug. She looks like she's like having a fun time, you know?
percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple
Doubling
question as we
down.
move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes or no?
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
Dude.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on
Once again, I feel like he's having a hard time because he won't respond to any of the questions. He can't just respond for some reason. He's getting mogged by the debate people, the people he used to fucking destroy. He used to fucking own them. He used to crush them under his fucking boot.
that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate And what did
I feel like this is not the own she thinks it is. I feel like she has to get into slightly more specifics on J6 if she wants to really win that point. Talking about Charlottesville is like, I don't think anybody even fucking remembers. I don't think anybody even fucking remembers anything about Charlottesville. There was like 1,000 people there. Nobody fucking cared about that. I mean, they cared about it on the news. But realistically, like, I don't think it's the point you want to talk about, to be honest with you. Like, there's more to go into with J6 if you want. You should have listened to the Destiny Manifesto, bro.
the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for
J6 seemed like such a meme. I mean, to me too. I mean, I just like the fucking, when it was going on, I just like the Lego memes about it. You know, I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't learn until much later. I was just like, I remember tweeting out like, you know, memes about it, pictures of baked Alaska on Nancy Pelosi's phone. There was like a Lego set picture someone made. But yeah, to be honest with you, I just don't. I don't think that on this question either of them are mogging. I think maybe Camel is doing slightly better on this one, but I don't think that Trump gave a very substantive answer at all.
the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a
gonna
different
talk about
term, and it was a
Hawk
term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time.
Alpha's don't answer dumb questions or debate women. Yeah, he should have just gone there and been like, "You're cringe," and then just left. That would have been fire. He would have won at that rate, for sure.
Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C., and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing
Thank
many
you, D.
people.
Skinny, for coming
unlike
to member.
J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically.
But
You know
those-
that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislature
I did see Chris streaming the debate, yes.
just for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten.
I'm gonna be honest. I think this is completely retarded. I think this is retarded.
Election, people should never be thinking about it.
I think this is
Election is
retarded
fraudulent. We need
completely.
two things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60
That was a quote from Lex Friedman, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about there. The lost by a whisker thing.
cases in front of many judges, many of them
No
Republican.
judge looked at it.
And said there
They
was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to
Bro, can we listen? I was trying to, I'm trying to like this debate, but can we stop this boring politics shit? I thought we were talking about like Roblox Chicken Nugget or something. Like there was supposed to be a lot more base stuff going on here. I was promised a lot about Skibidi, and I mean, what the fuck are we even talking about? The election or something? Whatever.
upend the will of the
Talk
voters
about
in
Hawk
a
Tuah.
free and fair election. And I'm going to tell
Where is Haley Welch?
you that
Who cares?
I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did, in fact, lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him.
All right, we're just going to skip to the most up-to-date part because I don't fucking care.
Horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's?
Bro, I skipped like 4 minutes and I feel like I'm still in the middle of the same answer.
Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a
I like his
crooked
bangs, though.
administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates in a story
All right.
tonight, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Closing statements, boys and girls. We're getting here to the end. All right. What do you guys think so far? What do you think about this? Who's winning? Who's losing? Who's mogging? Who's taking the L? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Trump W or Kamala W? Who's winning the debate? Purely on the debate, by the way. Let's try not to have your, you know what? We'll even do a poll. We'll do a poll. Start a poll. Who won? Skip it, Trump or Chikunula? All right, guys. Skip it, Trump or Chikunula. Let's cast your votes now. All right, this is the real election that matters. Who's winning? Who's losing? Who's winning? Who's losing? You missed the part where Trump said Kamala puts out. She got stunned. Wait, did that fucking happen? No way. I don't believe that. There's no way that happened in real life. It's close. Holy shit. 48 for Skip it, Trump, 52 for Chikunula. So far, the vote's kind of mirroring my prediction for how the American people would feel about it. I voted wrong on accident. Start the poll over. You get one vote, bro. That's it. Trump's yap maxing. Have to give him the L. Rare woman W. You need a third option that says USA L. I would never support that. The United States is based. Okay? I'm American. The United States is based. I don't give a fuck about you if you're not from the United States. It's still pretty close. It looks like Chikunula was edging out Skip it, Trump a little bit more at the start, but it's getting a little closer now. It's getting a little closer now. I'm curious what their closing statements are going to be. What are they going to say? Presidential debate situation is crazy. Yeah, I can wait for that critical video. Kamala W, Trump yapping, and Big L. Rigged. Yeah, I rigged it. Trump pushes baseless claims about immigrants eating the pets. Well, he saw it on the TV, though, so based. I've seen a lot of tweets about that, but I haven't looked into the allegations. You know, I don't know if it's a false allegation or a true allegation about Haitians eating cats. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you, chat. I did see a video of some guy on a beach. I thought he was like, I don't know, it's from the Middle East somewhere, but he had like a seagull in his hands, and this woman was trying to get him to not take the seagull away from the beach. And he was like, it's bird, I eat bird. All right, we're back.
Key moments, our team will break it down. As we enter the final sprint to Election Day, we'll go back to the debate and closing statements.
Live from the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Here again, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come.
I hate
for
both of
closing
them, my glorious
statements, and
turkey
Vice
president.
Harris,
Base!
we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental
Where'd her
rights and
accent go? Does
freedoms,
she have an
including
accent?
the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor.
Woman
I
L.
was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and
you
is
okay?
not putting themselves
Is this guy
first.
bothering you?
I intend to be a president
Oh, is
for
this guy
all
bothering you?
Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border.
Do a poll where only male property owners can vote. Lol. I would guess, if I had to guess between me and Chat, I would guess that there's not a lot of male property owners in general. I think we all lose. I would guess there's not a lot of property owners in general out of everyone, just because barely anyone owns property, to be honest with you.
They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that
Your mom
the
owns my
American
property?
people don't
Based.
believe in. You believe
True.
in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this.
By the way, the poll has ended now. Okay, we gave it a good shot. It was extremely close. Chicunula won with 51%. Skibba Trump just barely lost with 48%, according to this poll. I would guess the I own male property based gay moment. I would guess that the general consensus of the country is going to be probably slightly a win in Kamala's favor, but not by much, if I had to guess.
Country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me.
Destiny
They
Raid
call
base.
me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of
George
nuclear
Droid
weapons, the
base.
power of
Shout out
weaponry.
George.
I rebuilt
W.
our entire
Riz.
military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst
yeah, brother.
vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world and from all.
Holy shit. All right, chat. Well, I'll give you my thoughts, all right? I'll give you my thoughts. So, in my opinion, I feel like Kamala had a lot more stuff of substance to say. I think she had a lot more, I'd say, commentary on policy and looking, like she said, to the future. A lot of what Trump said was generally in response to what she was saying. It didn't have a lot to do with his own personal thoughts and where the country's going to go. most of what he had to say, I feel like, was about like stopping immigration, stopping the cat eating or whatever. She overall, I think, seemed much more reasonable and tempered. And on top of that, I also think that he seemed a lot more angry. They didn't ask her hard questions. I don't really think that's true. I mean, in fairness, Trump had a much more controversial presidency than her. You know, and she hasn't even had a presidency yet, but you know, there's a lot more mainstream controversy with her than him. So I don't know. I don't really think it was super biased in terms of I mean, obviously, I don't think I would argue that the people who are up there are going to vote for Trump. If I had to guess, both of these people are going to vote for Kamala. But I honestly don't think that. I don't really think that they were super biased. Most of what they asked across both candidates was pretty much the same. So yeah, I think it was kind of a slight Trump L, to be honest with you, bro. I don't think it's gonna go that well. I don't know who's gonna win, but right now I kind of have a feeling. I've got a feeling that I feel like Kamala might win. I think she might win, guys. I'll be honest. It might be a Skibbity Riz type thing going on.